In this video, I want to talk about the story of how I took the leap from running my own thing, running my own consultancy agency, to now starting over completely fresh as a software engineer. And I want to talk about why I made the choice to switch careers, what I've done along the way, and also how I've overcome some doubts and how I've overcome a lot of fears that have come from starting from scratch. So if you're thinking about making a similar change, my hope with this video is that, my story will show you that it's never too late to follow your curiosity and to take a chance on something. My kind of story begins at around 2018. I was working in a job that I really actually liked, to be honest. It was in the education space. I was actually making pretty good money. I enjoyed the people that I was working with. My role was more kind of like a customer facing role. So I was attending events, I was speaking to clients. It was both an engaging and sort of rewarding role. I was more sort of there to kind of help customers make better decisions with their education. And even though this was a very rewarding and I got a lot of fulfillment out of this role, deep down, I felt that I couldn't, shake this feeling that I have, that I wasn't essentially living up to my full potential, doing this particular role. And the reason was because I always really loved working with computers. I loved building things online. I loved building websites, using templates and frameworks to create, little pieces of software. I really liked creating things. And so while my job was, fulfilling in some ways, it did lack that spark, that kind of pursuit that I had outside of my work that generally comes from something that you are really passionate about. And I found myself spending, a lot of my free time just tinkering with websites, learning new skills, and I really fell in love with that part. But there was a challenge of doing all this, and that is that I didn't have my own product, to sell. I didn't have anything that I was wanting to market or anything like that. I was just creating stuff for myself. I just created things because I enjoyed doing it. And that kind of changed when I was talking about a lot of this stuff, a lot of the things that I was doing, and friends and acquaintances, they began asking me questions about it. They began asking me for help on how to do these certain things. They wanted some advice on websites. They wanted some advice on how to get on Google, search engine optimization, how to establish their sort of online presence. So I started helping friends now, especially the friends that were starting to run businesses themselves, starting to run small businesses themselves. They had a lot of questions about how to do these things. I did it just because I enjoyed sharing what I was learning, and I was just sort of sharing all this stuff. Then one day, someone actually asked if I could manage their social media page for them. And since I was already working with technologies like WordPress, I was building some Shopify sites as well, and I was doing some SEO. I thought, why not? How hard could it be? And so this is essentially how I started my consulting career. I took on this challenge while I was working full time at the time as well. And I just dived deep into this. So I learned, how to use social media, marketing tools, how to drive traffic to businesses. And so I started helping this business to upload photos. I started helping them boost posts locally. And the results for them were actually quite significant, quite huge. The business, they started to see a significant amount of traffic, so a significant amount of people come to the business, and it was really like a win-win for them. They loved working with me, and they loved that I was solving this problem for them. And so they asked me to continue working for them, and they would pay me for the service. And this is when kind of this light bulb moment went off for me, because now I was receiving money for doing something, and I thought, wait, if I could do this for one business, then why not do this for 2, 3, 10, why not do it for more businesses? So after securing my first client, some referrals started to come in. It wasn't obviously a flood of referrals, but there were some referrals coming in. I landed my second client, and then I landed my third client, then my fourth client. And this was 2018, by the way. This was like the height of social media marketing. This is when obviously Gary Vaynerchuk was like massive talking about it, and a lot of small business owners were listening to the fact that you have to be on social media. And so, small businesses were essentially looking for this service. They were looking for this kind of help. And I began to seriously consider quitting my job at this time. I thought, if I could dedicate my time to getting more of these clients, I could turn this into something quite big. I could just sort of keep doing this. I really enjoyed doing the work, and I thought, why not look at pursuing this? So around late 2018, I took this leap. I quit my job to pursue this consulting thing full time. And now for the first year and a half, things were great. I was helping businesses, they were solving a real problem, which is customer acquisition, marketing strategies for them. And I learned so much about digital marketing, about, analytics, about running ads. I was just learning a ton of stuff. And I just love solving this particular problem. I love solving this problem for customers and, testing different strategies, figuring out, what worked, refining campaigns, trying to get the best results possible. But over time, I noticed a bit of a trend that was happening within my clients. And that was that after I'd done all the testing and I figured out the strategy and all this sort of thing, I found that my clients would just start to replicate the strategies themselves. They would try to bring this in-house. Once they understood the process, they didn't essentially need to pay me anymore. They would just find someone internally, in the business and just say, hey, can you just do this? This is what's working for us. And this led to a pretty high turnover rate with clients because many of them transitioned to work this in-house to save money. And look, I understand small businesses operate with very thin margins. It's extremely difficult to run a small business. They were paying for my fee. They were also paying for the ad spend as well. So, cutting my fee just made more financial sense for them. And I completely understand. I don't have any resentment towards the businesses that I work with. Actually, it was great and it was an awesome opportunity that I had to work with some of these companies. So to stay in business, because this was happening, I realized that I needed to offer something more valuable, something that clients couldn't easily do themselves, they couldn't easily replicate themselves. And that's when I started to offer website services, either website redesign or just a completely fresh website. And a lot of clients that I was working with at the time, they had outdated websites. So I saw this opportunity to help them to upgrade their online presence, look more professional online. And, for me, it's obviously gained some experience with doing this. And so this was obviously a win-win. And this is actually when I discovered my true passion, which was building websites, working with software, and creating, small applications to help my clients with their online presence. And when I was working on these projects, I felt completely in my element. I just loved the kind of building and problem solving part of doing this far more than the sales and marketing aspects of running a small business. But running a business means constantly selling. And like I said, over time, I started losing interest in that side of the business and that side of things. And to make matters even worse, COVID-19 hit, the pandemic made it even harder to bring in new clients. And so I was juggling with a lot of these different challenges. But the plus side about going through this time is that, it's when I discovered my first taste of coding. I was working with, like I said, platforms like WordPress, Squarespace, and so I had to learn some basic HTML and CSS to make small adjustments when I needed to, and that was really enjoyable for me. But the problem was I never really had the confidence to just fully dive into programming. Every single time I would look at the code base, or every single time I would, pull up a project and I saw all of these lines of code, I just thought, this is not for me, right? This is for some math genius. This is for some gifted individual to create this. I couldn't do this. I couldn't work on this stuff, even though, I was actually working on it. I just didn't have the confidence to really dive into the subject. So anyway, one day I'm listening to a podcast and this ad comes on the podcast, and it's an ad for this IT course. There was some really good benefits. It was not going to cost a lot of money. And I looked into it. I love the subjects that were being talked about. And I thought, I'm just going to apply for this. Maybe I can learn some really cool things about IT. And so I went for it. I applied for the course and I got in, which was great. During this course, I learned a lot about IT, networking, systems, programming, and all this kind of stuff. But one of the huge benefits of the course was the people that I met, the network that I built. And these people had been building things with code, with programming, and they taught themselves how to code. And they weren't these math prodigies. They were just ordinary people, just like me, who had, these amazing tools built with software that they had taught themselves how to do. When I was listening to them, their stories had really inspired me. It inspired me to just finally commit to learning software engineering. I had been holding myself back with all these negative thoughts, these beliefs that I couldn't do it. But after listening to these people that had done it, I realized that I could do it myself. From this point, what I truly loved about the consulting that I was doing wasn't the sales or the marketing. It was the building. It was the problem solving, the creativity. And software engineering just felt like the perfect fit for me. I just needed that confidence boost, which I got from doing this IT course and meeting these great people. So here I am today. I've gone headfirst into software engineering. I've been studying it now for the past 5 months, consistently every single day, putting in the work, building projects, finishing online courses, and just dedicating all of my time and effort that I possibly can outside of the work that I'm doing to just learn software engineering, to hopefully make a career change into software engineering and sort of, leave the consulting business behind. That's ultimately the goal that I'm trying to work towards. So of course, my journey has taught me some extremely valuable lessons along the way, and I'm in this position because of where my journey has taken me. I've learned a lot of practical skills, especially, doing the consulting work, managing multiple projects, communicating with multiple clients and different sort of stakeholders. But I would have to say the biggest lesson was figuring out what I actually love. And that is the software engineering part. Like I said, I kept finding myself drawn to the technical work, the building, the solving problems, the figuring things out. That's the stuff that I really love doing. Those were the moments that I realized this is what I care the most about. So I'm going through this transition, and obviously it's not easy, right? Starting over with anything is not easy. I'm in my late 30s, and I know it's not too late, but you kind of feel like, you're against Father Time here, and there's a lot of people that are coming up in this industry that are a lot younger, and there's a lot of competition. So it's not easy to start over, and I'm sort of still building my skills and still working through the process, but I'm finding that it's really worth it, and I wouldn't be wanting to do anything else. I've found my thing and I'm just going to stick to it, and I love doing it. And progress, it doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from just showing up, making mistakes, and learning. So, I'm excited about focusing on software engineering, and just everything that comes along with it. One thing that has really shocked me is this community, and the fact that, you are amongst some of the most intelligent people. And for me, that's really important because I like to be intellectually challenged a lot. And, this community of software engineers, they're people that are very switched on. They stay up to date with things. They love to learn. They love to learn new skills all the time. And I identify with that so much. And I really feel like I've found my community. I've found the industry, and I'm really excited about it. So look, that's my story. I feel like it's just getting started as well. And if you're thinking about changing careers, it's obviously not going to be easy, but it will probably be one of the best decisions you ever make, especially if you found what you love and you're learning about it, and it's something that inspires you, it's challenging as well, and it just keeps you interested. Well, that's the best part, right? Because you found your thing. So whatever background you're coming from, hopefully this story has provided you some context as to really you can come from any background. It doesn't really matter where you're starting. All that matters is that you are putting in the work and you're doing your best every single day to show up and learn this, because honestly, I think it's probably a life-changing skill. It's definitely going to be a life-changing skill for me, and I can't wait to see where it takes me. So if you're just getting started, start small. Take that course, build the project, just explore it. If it's for you, fantastic. If it's not for you, then quit and find something else that you love to do. But, if this is what you're passionate about as well, fantastic, because I know exactly how you feel, because it's definitely a passion that I've found and I really resonate with now. And I'll leave you with this great quote. I'm not too sure who said it, but I read it the other day and I thought it was fantastic. And that is that the best project that you can ever work on is you. So keep working on that project. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.